Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be working on this MacBook Pro. This is a A1708 2017 model and it's not turning on. So the customer got in touch with me and asked me if I could take a look at his sister's, I think, laptop. Unfortunately, it was working one day and then all of a sudden it just died. Or at least that's what the customer says. So we're going to take a look, see what we can do, and hopefully get this working again. It's a fairly common issue on these MacBook Pros, on all MacBooks in fact, where they just randomly die for no apparent reason. So with that being said, my name is The Coder. I'm an electronics technician. I mainly work on games consoles, but I do work on other stuff as well. So if that's the sort of stuff you're into, be sure to get subscribed and turn on the bell notifications. That way you don't miss any future videos. If you do need to organise a repair, if you've got a MacBook, a laptop, a games console, or anything in between that you need repairing, be sure to get in touch with me at www.thecoder.repair. The code is spelled the same way as here on YouTube, and there'll be a link to that in the video description. If you do need parts and supplies for laptops, games consoles, that sort of stuff, I do strip down faulty devices and sell the parts on my online store. One of the only places in the world where you can get guaranteed genuine parts. Well, a lot cheaper than eBay, let's put it that way. So yeah, the link for that will be in the video description as well. As you can imagine, I'm fumbling my words. I'm quite tired. It's getting on for 1 AM. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into today's video. This video probably still would have been here without today's sponsor. But hey, it's time to show something, right? So here goes. Here at the Coder Productions, we love nothing more than to take as much money from you, the viewer, as we possibly can. Which is why we're proud to talk to you about consolefix.shop, a great place for you to spend your hard-earned cash. I mean, yeah, fair enough, you get parts and supplies that help you fix things, but you've got to give me some money in return. Nothing in life's free, and if you pay me for it, you might appreciate it more. Or not, hey, I'm not judging. With that being said, we do have some pretty cool stuff on the shelves, including power supplies, HDMI ports, charging chips, MOSFETs, and whatever else you can think of that'll give you the illusion that you're getting a good deal. So head on over to the online store by clicking on the link in the video description, and if there's one thing I can guarantee, is that there will be a way for me to take your money. ConsoleFix, your friendly money grabbing YouTuber. The charger can be quite telling as to what's going on with the laptop, especially when it comes to a MacBook. So as you are probably aware, these use USB-C, which means we can use the USB ammeter. And if I plug this in, we're supposed to get 20 volts and it's supposed to jump up to around about 2.5 amps. Unfortunately, this one doesn't. It stays at 5 volts, and I'm going to try and get this to show up, but here we go. Yeah, 5 volts, 0.16 amps, so around about 160 milliamps at 5 volts. So that's obviously not normal, and it doesn't change. It doesn't matter whether I plug it into that port or whether I plug it into that port. That port, it actually draws 0 amps of current, and it doesn't matter if I flip the cable round as well. As you'll know, USB-C can be charged both ways. But yeah, as you'll see there, nothing changes when I have the leads flipped around. We get 0 amps from one side and we get 20 milliamps. 0.16 amps from the other side, so 160 milliamps ish. So that can be quite telling. And the one thing that this points me to on here with this particular device, this particular issue, is going to be something along the lines of the PP Bus G3 hot circuit being short to ground. So it's normally relatively straightforward to fix when that's the case. It could be that one of the CD3215s have failed. Obviously, we don't know that until we actually get inside, until we actually work on it. The CD3215s, the problem with those, it's the charging controller, the USB-C MUX chip. And the problem with those is that when one fails, they all fail. Not literally, just that when one fails, the system doesn't allow it to charge. Which could be why we're seeing, for example, 0 milliamps of current on one charging port, and 0.16 amps on the other, 160 milliamps on the other. That could be the case. It could be that one of them have failed and that it's preventing it from charging with the other one. So yeah, we're going to get it apart, see what we can do. I'm going to see first of all if we can find any kind of liquid damage or anything like that, because that is fairly common. Sometimes, I'm not going to say in this case, but sometimes, and a lot of the time, what you tend to find is the customer will say, oh, it just suddenly stopped working, and then it turns out that it's been liquid damaged. Whether they know about that or whether they, you know, completely unaware, that's a different story. But a lot of the time you find that they get liquid damaged, and that's why they end up not working, right? So obviously we need to find that out. We need to see if there's any liquid damage on the board. So we'll be looking for signs of corrosion or anything like that, but we'll also be looking for signs of randomly exploding capacitors, because, well, MacBooks like randomly exploding capacitors, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see. Let's have a look, shall we? So I'm going to give this a visual inspection first, and to be honest with you, it looks fairly clean. It really does look fairly clean. I don't see any signs of corrosion immediately, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the board out, because I want to see what the board is doing with nothing connected to it, right? I don't want to see what's happening when the battery's plugged in. I don't want to see what's happening when the screen's plugged in or anything like that. I just want to see what's happening with just the board alone. So I'm going to get the board out of the housing, and then I'll obviously take it from there. Okay, so with the board out then, I'm going to pop the housing to one side. I'm not interested in that right now. I just want to see what's going on with the board itself. So let's just plug in the USB. And yep, we get no change there at all. We still get 5 volts at 0.16 amps. And we get 5 volts at 0 amps. Okay, so very unlikely, but what I think I'm going to do is just hook up the thermal camera really quick and just see if we get any kind of, well, any sign of life from the thermal camera. Let's just see if anything starts to get warm. You know, is anything trying to turn on or something like that? So basically right here I've got a Infrared P2 Pro. This is a really good thermal camera. I'll leave a link to this in the top pin comment. Not sponsored, but as I say in every video, I did receive this for free, but it is a fantastic camera. I promise you, it is probably the best bang for buck in terms of thermal cams. I did receive it for free, but that was, you know, well over a year ago. I'm under no obligation to say anything good about this thermal camera anymore. I received it for free from the company just to try and review as part of a video, but with no contract or anything like that. So yeah, I recommend getting one of these thermal cams, and the good thing is it works with some software called TC View. Now I'm not sure if Infrared have brought their old software out since, but it does work with software called TC View, and as you can see there, it does pick up absolutely fine, very responsive, etc, etc. So yeah, highly recommend it. But anyway, let's get the macro lens. I do see some signs of heat just around here. So let's just pop the macro lens on. That's going to allow me to look up close. And yep, we do have signs of something around this area. But it looks to be on the other side of the board. And it looks to be this CD3215 right here. So we have got a sign of potentially a bad component. So the macro lens allows me to look up really close. As you can see, I can see individual components, I can see areas, and I can see a hot spot right in the corner of that chip there. Whereas without the macro lens, you can just see, you know, a blurry image, which is normal for thermal cameras. The resolution on thermal cameras isn't obviously as high as normal cameras, but with the macro lens, it does allow me to look up really close and see individual components. And I am seeing that CD3215 light up. So I'm going to take a look under the microscope and just see if there's anything out of the ordinary there. Do we have any, you know, damage to the components or anything like that? Any signs of liquid damage? Anything like that. Well, let's go under the microscope and take a look. And yeah, straight away, that CD3215 that was getting warm, I do see damage. Let's have a look on the other side, because we do have some power related stuff on this side. No, not really seeing much. Everything looks to be liquid damaged. Liquid damaged. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not good, is it? See, So here's the thing. People might not even know that it's liquid damage, but that is definitely liquid damage. So we'll have to fix that. And I'm probably also going to have to remove this shield so as I can see what else is going on around the USB ports. And I'm just going to give the entire board a visual inspection, just see if I've got any more liquid damage anywhere. A common area for liquid damage around these GPU and CPU MOSFETs, but I'm not seeing any more, not immediately. But I am just going to have a look around everything else. Got no corrosion around the, I think that's the SMC. No corrosion around there. I've got a random pube there, but it's a MacBook, what do you expect? No, not really seeing much more. Other than, you know, the obvious gunk and crap. Okay, seems to be fine apart from this CD3215. So I am going to get that removed. I don't think I need to do any more testing on this. You know, it's very obviously damaged around that area, so I think I'm just going to get this removed and replaced. So I've got my hot air set at 440 degrees Celsius. I'm just preheating the board just by moving my airflow around pretty quickly, just to get some heat in the general area. And in fact, I forgot to do one crucial thing here, and that is going to be remove the SSD. Never work on the motherboard while the SSD is installed. So I'm going to remove this sticker. And then just remove the SSD. Never do any work while the SSD is installed. This is your customer's data. Do not risk it. That was almost a mistake by me. Okay, so I'm just going to add some flux here. Still getting some heat into the board at the minute. But I've added flux now just to reduce the chances of any oxidation to any other components in that area. I'm actually going to add flux to the other CD3215 because it's a BGA chip and I don't want to cause oxidation. I'm just going to come in now and get ready to remove this chip. And, this doesn't smell good, I'm going to be honest. It don't smell great. I'm wondering if this is an animal which has peed on this. That don't smell good at all. Smells a bit like ammonia. Not good. Not good at all. I wonder if they've got cats. Alright, never mind. So, let's just replace this solder that's on here. And I'm going to replace this with leaded solder. Yeah, that really didn't smell great, I'm going to be honest. Got to be careful because this is a fairly densely populated area. I don't want to end up knocking any components here. So I've already bridged 2 capacitors. I can sort that out in a minute. Not a problem. Okay. I've just realised that was out of focus because, well, I suck at being a YouTuber. Well, never mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wick this all away now, but I'm not going to use the soldering iron because I don't want to end up knocking anything over, any components off, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use hot air and just use some wick with my tweezers just to clean this up. So I've just cut a little bit of wick off my reel. So it's not only the fact of knocking components, these pads are incredibly fragile. And I don't want to end up tearing any pads. Doing trace repair on BGA components is not fun. It's very time consuming and it's very difficult to do. I'm actually struggling there, to be honest. I'm going to use the iron. I'll chance it. I've got a feeling I'm going to end up doing some damage to it if I carry on like that, so I'll chance it with the iron. There's enough heat in the board to the point where it shouldn't be an issue. That is meant to have one missing pad in that one corner in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to straighten out these two caps. Okay, there we go. That is ready for a new CD3215. So I'm just cleaning up this with isopropyl alcohol. This is 99.9% pure. It's perfectly safe for the motherboard. It's absolutely fine. Just getting rid of these little bits of oxidation off the solder pads. And there is a teeny tiny bit of solder remaining on a couple of those pads. I don't want to cause any uneven joints. Okay, that should be good enough. So I'm just going to clean up this area here that had a little bit of corrosion around it. And what I'm going to do is, because this was corroded, I'm just going to give it a really quick reflow with some flux and hot air. Just to make sure that we've got some good joints on here. There we are. I don't think there's going to be any liquid damage on the other side of this. Sorry, underneath this shield. It should be absolutely fine. I don't see any corrosion, so it should be fine. Okay, there we go. That is good. And now I need a donor board so as I can pull a CD3215 from it. So here's a donor board. The CD3215s that are on here should be good. I'm pretty sure I've got some brand new ones, but I'm not 100% sure, and I just really can't be bothered to look at 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got some brand new ones in the parts bin somewhere. But I'm going to pull one from here and reboard it, I think. I might have just been able to pull that completely and utterly evenly. Nice. That don't need reboarding. So a lot of the time you can do what's called the split method, and that's where you can pull it so as the solder balls are even enough to the point where you don't need to reboard it, and I think that is one of those cases. No, I'm going to reboard it. Why not? Stuff it. So there's a couple of balls in this corner here which don't look as even as the rest of them. So I think I'm just going to reboard it. I don't have a stencil for these chips, but it's not going to take me that long to do. I think these are 0.3mm solder balls. So yeah, there's not that many of them on here. So I may as well just reboard it and get it over with. Know it's going to be good when I put it on there in terms of the connections. So I'm just wicking all of this solder away. And that went out of view a couple of times, sorry about that. Just going to put some IPA on there and just give it a clean. Needs a little bit more. That's good enough. Maybe not. That is damaged. Uh-oh. Well, guess I'm using the other one. Wait, are they popcorned? They are. Both of them are. That's very, very odd. Well, I'm guessing that could be what was wrong with this board then. Maybe. Or there was just moisture in this board when I removed them from the donor board. I don't know. Alright, so I was going to use a donor chip. And then it turns out that both of the donor chips that I pulled off a board have popcorned. Whether that was me or whether they was, you know, damaged before or whether they had moisture in them, I don't know. It was probably me. But then I realised I've got like 15 of these damn things in stock. Why the hell am I using donor chips? Consolefix.shop to the rescue. Brand spanking new CD3215s. Boom, there we go, look, check that out. Oh yeah. So, pin number 1's indicator is top right, just there, like that. So I'm going to just drop a little bit of flux down, just a tad. I don't want too much, I don't want the chip to float. And there's a little bit of scratching on this board, but it's fine, I promise. I'm going to get that roughly in line there, and surface tension should do the rest. No. Come on. No. There we are. That's got it. That's got ya. Alright. So that's flowed down. There are a couple of BGA chips around, so I'm just going to add some flux to those BGA chips. Just to make sure that we get some nice solder joints. There we are. And now I'm going to leave that to cool down. And now I'm just going to clean up. So I'm just using IPA just to clean up the flux. Don't want to leave that stuff on the board. It's not going to hurt the board. It is no clean flux, but I'd rather remove it. It's good practice. I'm also cleaning the charging ports themselves at the same time. There we are. Okay, so SSD is not plugged in. Don't want that plugged in at the minute. Remember, that's customer data we're messing with. And we get 0 amps, 5 volts. Is it going to jump up to 20? No, it is not. Alright, it's the next morning and I've actually just had a phone call with the customer. I've explained what's going on with this board and stuff like that. But I have had another quick look at this and I have found something literally just now. So I thought I'd hit record again and yeah, hopefully we can figure this out. So let me show you what I've found. So if we look at the board view for this software is called Open Board View. Fantastic software by Paul Daniels. I do have Paul's premium version of this, which is way better, Flex Board View, but unfortunately my PC is playing up and for some reason it's uninstalled Flex Board View, so along with a load of other software. So yeah, so on these two capacitors here just above U3100, which is the CD3215, so as you can see just here, this is CD3215. We've got these two caps here, and if we zoom in on this, we've got PP3V3 underscore G3 hot underscore UPC. And this is short to ground. It shouldn't be short to ground. 3V3G3 hot should never be short to ground. This one isn't, the UPC XA LDO, but this one is. So let me just show you that on the multimeter. So here's the board that we're working with. This is a customer's board. And if we go into continuity mode on the multimeter, so continuity mode is going to tell us that we've got a short if we have a continuous path between the probes, just like that. And if we look here, so pop one probe on ground, so I've got a ground point just here. If we look on this pin here, we get no beep. But we do get a beep there, which means that we've got a short to ground on that line. So is that the fact that I've put a bad chip on there, or is it something else? I don't know. Right, so injecting voltage again then. I have just injected voltage off camera, and what I picked up was rather concerning. So if I just inject voltage into this line again, this is incredibly difficult to do, but there's the heat spot right there. So it's on the other side of the board. Oh, okay. It's the P13 chip. Alright. Well, I thought that... oh, okay. Well, now I can see a bit of damage to it. Should have inspected that. I thought we was going to have an issue with this chip here. But, no. This chip here is bad. I can see a burn mark in that. Alright. Let's get that off the board, shall we? Okay, P13 removed. So in continuity mode now. There we go, no shorts. Okay, well, that's cleared the short. Let me just show you this. So continuity mode, no shorts. So that's cleared my short, which is good news. The bad news is now I've got to put another couple of these chips on. So yeah, you may. I've also got to replace this Pi 3 chip as well. So this is, I think this is the Video Mux chip. Not 100% sure, but I think it is. First and foremost, I'm just going to put this shield back on here. Actually, no, I'm going to leave that. I'm going to replace that Pi 3 chip first. So I've got some on a donor board. There we go. So that's soldered. And now it's time to grab a couple more CD3215s. There we are. So that's all wicked away. Actually, no, not quite. We've got one pad with some solder on it in this corner. And there's another pad down here. There we are. Alright, now we can put some new ones on. Get those roughly lined up and drop my airflow back down to 360 degrees Celsius, 20% airflow. Actually got to move the other one out of the way because it's going to end up floating. This does not want to sit down. Okay, give that a try. And that one. Right, let's forget about cleaning for now. Oh, there we go. We've got 20 volts. Just show you that here. 20 volts, 0.5 amps, 0.6 amps. It's not going to go through a full boot cycle. There's no battery. So there we go. We've got 20 volts back. The laptop is basically charging now, or at least taking power. So that's a win. So I'm just going to clean all of this up. Same as the other side. I'll give that a clean as well. And now I just need to solder this back on. Okay, so shield is soldered back on. I'm going to let that cool down again, and then I'm going to give it another clean. I am going to just tidy up the desk a little bit. This has been going on for, you know, like 20 hours now. It's quite late at night, 11 PM, so around about 20 hours I've been working on this. Not obviously, you know, straight off. I've been doing other things in between. Like I've got some chips that I needed to reball, so I've done them. You know, I've done things around the house and done other jobs, stuff like that, emails, etc. So obviously I've done different things in between. This has probably had about 2.5 hours, something like that, which, yes, it's not good, but I didn't really want to give up on it. So yeah, there we go. It is what it is. But I'm just going to tidy up, and then I'll get this back inside the laptop housing. Okay, so apart from the battery screw, there's no other screws in this, but it is reassembled and ready for testing. So let's see if we get any signs of life, apart from the obvious 20 volts. Okay, we've got 20 volts, we've got 0.63 amps, 0.7 amps. That is starting to boot. We have a fan spin, or we did, but I just hit it with my finger. And yep, backlight, and there we go. That is what I'm talking about. That is working. Now that is well worth it. That is what I'm talking about. That is Absolutely fantastic. So obviously, as you saw, go away, turn back on because it makes me look like I'm, well, fixing it and then it breaks again. Anyway, so yeah, obviously the CD3215 had a very visible hole in it, and obviously replacing that would normally fix it, but the Pi 3 USB chip as well, that also failed. Obviously replacing that as well as the CD3215s, the laptop's working, and yeah, happy days. So with that being said, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll always do my best to answer. I don't always get to respond, but I do always read every single comment that gets left. If you do want to organise a repair, you can get in touch at www.thecodat.repair, and if you do need to buy parts and supplies, you can buy them from my online store, consolefix.shop. With that being said, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up button on the way out if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.